Hello, investors. It is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, May 6th, 5:52 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state still in an uptrend. If we take a look at the trend gauge over here, market leaders very plentiful, a lot of leading groups, good action, green arrow there. And something that we love to see is that when the indexes are down and leaders hold up good, that tends to be a great sign for the overall health of the market. And we definitely saw that today, with the exception of a couple names, but all in all, a lot of leaders were flat, slightly positive. So that was good. Short term, we're above the 21 EMA. Medium term, we got that green arrow there for the 50-day, still consolidating above. Need that to start to slope back up for the full green arrow. And then long term, still trading below that 200-day moving average. What happened today? Leaders outperform the indexes, and FOMC is on deck tomorrow. That's what a lot of people are waiting for. So we'll see the reaction. 21 over 21 list was down 0.28%, and this was skewed. You had HIMS that was up almost 20% on the day, and then Palantir was down like 14%. So that kind of skewed the numbers a little bit. Big 8 down 0.73%, RG8 down 1.30%. Going down 60/40 stock and bond down 0.30%, GROTECTION down 0.50%, TurboTection up 0.86% on the day. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation. All right, chart the S&P 500 to start off, and kind of similar thing, right? Want to see this 5,500 spot hold. We found support at the 50-day, 2-day low volume pullback to the 50-day, and kind of what we talked about. Huge move off 48.35 into 56.50. And now if we can handle out here, that would be best case scenario for the bulls for a break back above the 200-day moving average. And for now, this looks constructive. Even if we backfill back into this 5,500, overall, I think it looks constructive. Getting that moving average alignment, want to see that 50-day start to slope back up. But again, maybe a little bit short-term extended still, but leaders acting well. And if the S&P can handle out here, that would be great. And the bear case would just be rejecting the 200-day, breaking 5,500 and rolling back over. So being open to both outcomes, but leaning to the bull side, as there's really two gap downs in a row, and bulls still stepped up, and bears couldn't take the market significantly lower during the trading session. RSP sitting right at the 50-day here, still has that 200-day above. QQQ again, kind of a cup, so would love to see a handle here below the 200-day. That starts flattening out more. That 50-day starts to hook back up, but 8 above the 21 is good. Mag 7, similar thing as the indexes here. Dow Jones rejected the 50-day today. Mid caps find support, 2-day low volume pullback to the 50-day. Russell 2000 back below the 50-day, but finding support right at the 8. ARC again rejected the 200-day and back below all key moving averages. Could say this is a rising wedge. We'll see. FFTY pausing right at the 200-day. Again, I don't have a whole lot to say other than would like to see some handles form out below the 200-day. And on the bear side, maybe these are rising wedges and we break down and roll over, but that's the reason why we have stops, progressive exposure rules. The VIX, at 2476, so this still has room lower. Volatility's been pretty low on the indexes intraday, which is good. Almost as if the VIX was trading at 20. So at 24, there's still room for this down to 18, and that could provide some even more fuel to the indexes. Dollar kind of looking like a bear flag here, rejected that 100 level, and that corresponds with gold. A lot of people are saying this potentially topped, just a routine pullback to the 21 and a strong uptrend, and 3 gap ups in a row coming back to test these highs here. Continues to be super strong. Definitely not a sector that you want to fade. And as trend followers, the trend is up on this most definitely. GDX again, kind of bull flag here off 21 wedge pop. And, look at the daily, right? Oh, this looks a little bit extended. But again, zooming out to the monthly, this is just breaking out of a huge monthly cup and handle base-ish look. And, this has room back to these highs at like 60 if it wants to stay strong. Silver, joining the party with gold as well. Nice wedge pop back above all the key moving averages. Bitcoin, awesome action. That 50-day starting to flatten out. See if it can slope back up. And letting the moving averages catch up, and this is consolidating quite nicely. Bonds, not a whole lot to say here. TLT, similar thing, just in a range down here. You know, 84 and that 200-day moving average. Rates outside reversal, same here. All right, that's the inter-asset correlation. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. So, percent of stocks above the 5 days coming down. That's good to see. Markets consolidating, let that overbought conditions wear off. That's good. Still in the bull case here. And tomorrow, the big news is FOMC at 2 p.m. and Powell in the presser, and then just some other notable earnings for the rest of the week. Uber, ARM, and AMD. AMD reported it's roughly flat, but the market tends to do its best work when semiconductors are in gear. So some of these semiconductors are pretty beaten down. So if they start gapping up on earnings, that could put a spark into the sector as a whole. And if semiconductors are strong, the general market tends to be really strong. So, and then Uber as well. That's a leader that's at highs, great fundamentals. See if that one can gap up. Today's keys, S&P held the 50-day, still below the 200-day, and then Qs, same story there. Going into tomorrow, watching the same levels across the indexes, and then the FOMC reaction. That's always key. And sometimes the day after is even more important. You get a lot of volatility sometimes during the day, and then sometimes Thursday you get the real move. 2 days of consolidation, 10 days above the 8, 9 days above the 21. Short-term expectations are positive. On the sector front, uranium was strong, gold, utilities, China, Bitcoin, weakness, biotech got smoked today, healthcare, home builders, software, retail, all pulling back as well. GROTECTION today, one trade, bought HIMS on the earnings gap. RVAB 0.74, 2.57% open heat. And then TurboTection added to HIM's position and then bought a starter in MSTR 0.74 beta as well with a 4.22% open heat. Bottom line, leaders outperform indexes with FOMC on deck tomorrow. Let's get into the charts of interest. Let's see. Let's start with trades today. HIMS. So, unbelievable action today, really. This had a really good earnings report, some great beats across the board, and it opened flat. And right off the open, this just had enormous volume. It was like a stampede of buyers. This was a 27% rip in the first 15 minutes. You can see these first 5-minute candles today. We added to this right off the open, and then it pulled back, came back in, and then kind of formed a VCP. And one thing that you'll note with, to me, what I found some of the strongest earnings gappers right out of the gate. They're unbelievably strong, stampede of volume, and just huge candles. And then they kind of, they'll pull back a little bit. If you have VWAPs on your chart, they tend to respect VWAP. They never tend to break low a day. And then kind of consolidate during lunchtime and have a strong close. So, HIM's pretty 5-star earnings reaction. Grow took a position here. We added to it in Turbo and closed the day up 18% on 420% above average volume. Can't really ask for much more. Good earnings. This weekly looks, super strong trends. So this one's an exciting name to watch and see how it performs moving forward. But really good day one. Now watch for these lows to hold. And then, sometimes these shorter term moving averages have to catch up. But if this could flag, that would be good. That was HIMS. And then Turbo took starter in MSTR. So, this setup kind of reminds me of 2024 near the end. Had a double bottom base here off the 200-day, had a strong move up, right? Real time now, double bottom base off 200-day, strong move up, and then formed a 4-day flag, handle, bull flag on light volume off the shorter term moving averages. And then it broke out above 200, which coincides with 400 here. So kind of seeing a lot of similarities there. Took a starter in this one. If this one powers back through 400, that would be another ad spot potentially. Let's take a look at some of the earnings. AMD They're flat after hours, pretty beaten down. Tempest AI was another one. This one's down 6%. Palantir, this one was the big one. This closed day down 12%, gap down on earnings. Pretty good report, but again, might have just been moved too far too fast. 66 up to 125, which coincided with this previous left side high. But this found support at the 21-day moving average and closed mid-range. So not bad at all. If this forms a cup and handle, that'd be a really nice look here, especially in one of the strongest names in the market, great fundamentals. And yeah, so not too bad of a reaction given the move that it's had off this 66 April 7th low. All right, let's take a look at the 21 over 21 list. Leaders. HIMS, talk through this one. Robinhood, this one looks phenomenal. Its earnings are out of the way. It's forming a really nice flag under this 49.50 pivot here. So this can break out through. That would be pretty bullish, but again, holding up well. And on the topic of leaders outperforming indexes, this closed the day up 1.33%. So good action there. And about Hood, the starting notice, it likes to gap down in the mornings and rally back up. Did it on Monday, gap down today, closed extremely strong at the highs. So a little bit of character of this stock, but this one looks really good. Chewy, nice action, relative strength line, new highs coming up the right side. TKO, really nice cut pace, relative strength line, new highs. Bitcoin looks great. Uber earnings are tomorrow before the open. This one's coming against the highs of this base, and this again, one of the more attractive looking setups in the market. This one's up around, I want to say off the top of my head, like 40% year to date. So outperforming most stocks, has a really nice base, strong fundamentals going forward. So this one could prompt an earnings gap and could be an addable gap. Yeah, this one, kind of checks all the boxes: price action, leadership, theme, fundamentals, relative strength. So excited to see how this one reacts tomorrow. Guidewire, nice double bottom base holding above the pivot. Netflix continues to trickle higher. That tariff news on Monday that prompted that gap down, pretty short-lived, found support right at the 8 and back up near those highs. Just really good action in this name. Best Mag 7. Zscaler, again, phenomenal action after it broke out through this base. Would love to see this kind of pullback or handle. It's just been on a frozen rope up, 8-9 green days in a row. Relative strength line, new highs in a super strong cybersecurity group. GV, another one that's relative strength line, new highs, just up to the right side. See if this can pull back, handle for potential ads. CrowdStrike, again, similar thing, up the right side. Maybe this handles or maybe this breaks out through the top of this pivot, but great action nevertheless. Boeing, coming back to life, double bottom base, this 188, 185 level is the pivot. See if it can blast higher there. Carvana coming up the right side. Nice action here. This one reports tomorrow as well. LNG and the natural gas. This one looks good. Nice little base here. And another name in the group, EQT. This one looks really good. So keep an eye for these names. AR is another one, I believe. Shown a little bit of relative weakness, but looks good. Duolingo, monster earnings gap. Day 2, higher high. In decently tight day today. Only down less than 0.5%, gapping up into all-time highs on huge volume. All monthly, weekly, and daily all look really good. Clear leader there. Spotify double inside day right below all-time highs. This one looks really good if we can break through for potential add. Tesla continues to find resistance at the 200-day. See if this 50-day can start to flatten out and slope back up. CRS, good action here, just pulling back on light volume. CART, day 2 higher high, inside day after earnings, good action coming up the right side. DoorDash down 7.5% on earnings today, but found support at the 50-day, so it doesn't looks fine overall. And then Palantir, I mentioned, held the 21-day, but they're with the indexes consolidating right under 200-day, holding 50-day, hard to be bearish on the market. Things look to be setting up pretty good But as always, if the market wants to roll over, we have stops in place for that reason. But some other themes, I mentioned the cybersecurity. You have CrowdStrike, you have Zscaler, and then you also have names like Okta. This is challenging a new all-time high breakout, trying to emerge into stage two. This one looks good. Another one in this space, RBRK, new IPO, double on base, rejected this pivot. So if this one could handle out, that would be good. Yeah, cybersecurity strong. You have other names like power generation. We mentioned GEV, but VST is another one that's regained leadership back above the 200-day, and this one could gap up on earnings as well. And then other ones like more utilities, but NRG up the right side really nicely. Talon Energy, again, up the right side really nicely. And then, nuclear got some pops today. So keep an eye on like a name like CCJ. This is back above the 200-day moving average. And then URA, uranium was the leading sector, still below the 200-day, but big bases here. So keep an eye for CCJ is the leader in the group as well. And then aerospace and defense names, Rocket Lab consolidating above, kind of forming a little base here. You had DRS the other day gapping out of a really nice base on earnings. So, that looks good. And then just keep an eye on semiconductors, still below the 200-day, but um, they have room up here if we see some positive reports from some of the semis. So that's another thing. And like I mentioned, coincides with the general market strong as well. But this 200-day is declining. And from a stage analysis perspective, this was kind of a stage 3 and stage 4. So keep monitoring that. It's just honestly a super important sector as always. But yeah, bulls show up 2 days in a row on the gap down, and bears couldn't take the market lower. So FOMC's tomorrow, and the reaction will be key to that. That is going to wrap it. As always, I'd like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com. You can always reach out to Dan or Donna at revereasset.com. Phone is 855-732-5932, and you can always reach out to me on X at @ConnorJBates_. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, please reach out. Thanks for watching and have a great night.